OK, we'll get to more football in a moment, but first, let's just bring you the evening's big rugby transfer news. And Owen Farrell will leave Saracens to join Racing 92 at the end of the season. Farrell will join the top 14 league leaders on the 1st of July on a 2-year deal. The move comes after he announced that he would step away from England duties until at least after the Six Nations. Under current RFU rules, Farrell, of course, would be ineligible to play for England whilst playing his club rugby in France. The fly half has won 6 Premiership titles and 6 Champions Cups since joining Saracens 16 years ago. Well, our reporter Eleanor Roper has been at the launch of the Guinness Six Nations in Dublin today. There she is, and she joins me now. Eleanor, we knew this news was coming. We've been speculating for quite a few weeks now, but it seems like a really good situation for Owen Farrell, the player, this one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was in early January that we first heard reports from the French press that Owen Farrell was being linked to Racing 92, but they've confirmed this evening that he is signed for the top 14 side on a 2-year deal. He'll leave Saracens, as you say, at the end of this season, having played for them his whole career. He's made more than 200 appearances for Saracens, so a huge decision for him, for his family, something that I'm sure he's thought long and hard about. He's made 112 appearances for England, achieving so much in that England shirt. He, at the World Cup, overtook Johnny Wilkinson to become England's record point scorer. But this, for now, means that he will be ineligible for England's selection. You touched on it there. It was in November he announced via his club Saracens that he wanted to take a break from international rugby. We know how taxing it can be. While England players will tell you what a huge honour it is to represent their country, it obviously involves huge amount of time, away from home, away from family, travelling. It's something that we've been hearing recently from Courtney Law, someone who's playing some of the best rugby of his life, but has decided to step away from England because he says he has a young family to raise. So tough decisions for these guys, and a big move for Owen Farrell and a new opportunity for him. A 2-year deal does mean that he will be back in England ahead of the next World Cup. So a return to England not being ruled out. We also know that he will still be available for Lions selection next summer. His dad, Andy Farrell, taking on that new Lions role. But as you say, huge news tonight in the world of rugby, with Owen Farrell set to join Racing 92 next season.
Yeah, and he's someone so synonymous with Saracens. Like you say, 16 years he's been there, more than 200 appearances for the club. He's the symbol of Saracens, isn't he? Is this move also a worrying sign for the Premiership, with so many clubs struggling financially?
Well, as RFU rules currently stand, if you don't play in England, you are not available for selection for your country. It's been a huge talking point of late, something that Steve Borthwick has asked about every time we hear from him, really. There are other players currently unavailable for selection because of this rule. Henry Arundel, Jack Willis, Joe Marchant, another player playing in Paris, choosing to play their rugby in the top 14 for a whole host of reasons, maybe financial, but also a fantastic league to be a part of, chance to experience a new culture, a new country. And that's something that Owen Farrell is obviously making this decision to do. And he's earned the right, let's be clear about that. We touched on it there, 112 appearances for England, their record point scorer at 32 years old, now feels like the right time for him and his family to take some time away. It's not been an easy time for him. We've touched on what he's achieved, but we know at times he's been booed by fans, hasn't had the support that perhaps he deserves. And so now an opportunity for him and his family to take some time away and to enjoy this new opportunity.
Yeah, OK, so it seems like a good move then for Owen Farrell. I wonder about England. Is this possibly a chance and maybe a bit of a relief for the head coach, Steve Borthwick? He can focus now on the rebuild post the World Cup, and he doesn't have to keep worrying and answering questions on what Owen Farrell's doing with his future.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that it's something that Steve Borthwick has asked a lot about. He wasn't actually asked about it today. As you mentioned, we're in Dublin. I'm in Dublin. We've been hearing from the coaches, the captains ahead of the Six Nations, which kicks off next weekend. We already knew that Owen Farrell would not be a part of that. As I say, he announced at the end of November that he would not take part in this Six Nations, a huge news story at the time and something that Steve Borthwick spoke a lot about then. He was very clear then that he wanted Owen to do what was best for him, what was best for his family, that he supported Owen in that, and that he would welcome him back to the England setup as and when he was ready and wanted to make his return. So you're right. It's an opportunity now for Steve Borthwick to draw a line on that. Under that, Farrell goes to Paris, and Steve Borthwick will be focused on the job in hand as England get their Six Nations campaign underway next weekend.
Eleanor, thanks for bringing us up to date.